Lambo.
Totem Nation, we are here. Me, Lambo, and we have the man from Soul. Man from Soul is here. Man from Soul looks like he got some work put in, cutting some grass. How was your day going so far, the man from Soul?
Mic check.
Now,
Okay, there we are.
how was your day?
I can't complain. Just doing a little bit more research into this recruiting process. Things are looking on the up and up. My sons came back from college, um, and they're just getting themselves settled in and getting ready to start their summer jobs. And my oldest has to go back on Saturday because he's graduating from school, so he's just here temporarily for a second. So good to see them, see how their semesters went. You know, um, they're good advocates to talk to the little one about college because he's still trying to figure out what he's doing. And yeah, and you know, and they can help him along in the process as well because they're on campus. They can tell him all about it. So I mean, he's got a lot of resources at his fingertips before he has to make any type of decision. But so that was my day today. I mean, it's steamy out here. I tried to do some yard work, get some grass cut, break a sweat, enjoy being out, good weather, uh, get some exercise because I've been pinned in and get my joints moving. No, it feels good. I mean,
Well,
um,
I've went 7 days without drinking juice, water, and alcohol. It's day seven. Day seven. Now I'm trying to do this for a
that's
whole
great, dude. And I
month.
know I know you feel a difference.
Yeah, I feel a
You feel
lot.
a difference. Like seven, that's what it takes, And then it's like, and then it takes 2 weeks to make anything a habit. And then when you start feeling as good as you do, and then it helps you too when you do want to have a drink. You do it a little bit more moderately because it's like you don't want to lose that feeling. But water, we talked about this morning the secret to life. There's one big secret. Drink, drink drink half the amount of ounces of your body weight a day, and I guarantee you will feel great. I don't care who you are. You weigh 200 pounds, you drink 100 ounces of water every day, you're going to feel good. You'll realize how much water you don't drink and how much water the body actually needs and loves. It needs and likes because it does wonders for you when you, like you said, 7 days. I dare someone on this show to drink water half the
I'm
ounces of
talking
their
about
body weight for a week.
I'm talking gallon a day. 7 days, a gallon a day. Nothing else. Don't drink anything
Yeah,
else.
that's a gallon. That's 128 ounces. I mean, you drink a gallon of water a day, man. You're gonna feel different. You're gonna feel different because you're like, man, I drink throughout the day, blah blah blah. Well, by the time you have coffee in the morning and you have breakfast, you have like you said, a glass of juice, and then it's lunchtime. You haven't drank any water yet, but you have to focus to do it. Then it becomes part of your day, you know. And you're like and then when you tell people, you know, you realize how hard it is to do because people don't want to do it. I have this thing. See, mine's just 64 ounces. Two of these, and I know I'm done for the day.
Yep.
I know. I don't have to count cups or anything like that. I know I'm done when this is done two times. And I can
All
carry
right.
it anywhere. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
secret of the day. The second secret of the day: drink water.
Well, I'm gonna try to make it a month or 2 weeks, but we have to keep it going.
Oh man,
Hopefully
you're
I
gonna
don't
feel
break.
great. And when you start sweating because it's hot, but you're drinking that much water a day. Oh man, you're gonna see like your skin clearing up. You're like, man, I look different. Yeah,
Yeah.
trust me.
All right. We got a lot of things to talk about in the sports world. I know we had a bunch of special guests on the show yesterday, but I was right about last night's game. I was right about both picks. I said the Minnesota Timberwolves was going to beat the Nuggets, and they did. Not only did they beat them, they whoop up on the first two games. The Nuggets didn't even score 100 points. It doesn't look good for Denver. This series is
Hey, look, man.
over.
We had a conversation today, Lambo, and I think you were part of this conversation a couple weeks ago. Or you may not have been, but myself, and Kurt were talking about the Denver Nuggets, and we looked at it this way. You know, we lost a lot of stars in the first round, and we told ourselves before the playoffs kicked off, there is no way the NBA is going to allow the Nuggets to go back to back. That is not a good look for the National Basketball Association. I don't care who. I mean, love Joker, love the Nuggets players. They had a good season. They're a good team, but that's a bad financial look for the NBA. Can't have it. And now it's they've turned the page. They gave their championship. Now they're really going to promote Ant-Man, and they're going to push him to the forefront because he they got to find they got to find a box office American player that that is like that you can prop up and be the next face of the league. You know, I mean, they got Giannis got his championship. Milwaukee faded away. That Milwaukee being a two, three, four-time NBA champion does not sell tickets to mainstream NBA people. It doesn't. And now they've turned the page on the Nuggets. I think they're gonna run with a hot team, and they're trying to build a brand that's gonna help that individual, that organization, and the NBA. It's got to be three-pronged approach, or the NBA it's losing its luster. You can't have the Nuggets to be like five-time champions. That's not the way the NBA is set up.
I agree. I think it's happening
It comes
now. The
down to money.
Timberwolves look great, and they beat them by yeah, they beat them by 32 without Rudy Gobert. Without Rudy Gobert, beating them by 32. So that this Minnesota team defensively is great. They played great defense all game long. And Jokic struggled. We ain't seen Jokic struggle the first two games, despite him having 32 in game one. He only had 16 in game two. They turned the ball over. They struggled. The defending champions, lost their temper. Jamal Murray throwing a heated pad in the middle of the court. He'll probably get fined for that as well. But this series has turned. It has turned very quickly, and Minnesota is not playing around. Minnesota's not playing around. And I said it. I said the Timberwolves will win the series. They win game two. Game three, it's over. I don't see how Denver's going to beat Minnesota in Minnesota. I don't see it. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to beat Minnesota at their home court. You choke two games at home by 20 plus points. I just don't see how you
Uh-huh.
can do it. I don't see it. This series is
Uh-uh.
over. The Denver Nuggets did a great job for the season or whatnot, but it's over. don't see it. And then looking to the case of this Timberwolves team, depending on what happens with OKC and Dallas, it looks like the Timberwolves have a better chance of making the NBA Finals. It's going to be the Timberwolves in the NBA Finals against the Boston Celtics. That's the matchup. You want
That is.
Ant Edwards versus Jason Tatum was what the NBA wants. That's what they want. That's the matchup they want right there.
Well, I mean, there's
Next,
just not enough star power in the East to want for them to want anybody else. I mean, the Knicks are a great story, but they're it's not enough. It's not enough ticket sellers on that team to want them in any type of finals that is going to be broadcast globally. Like, you don't want that. You got to take your two biggest global brands and put them in the forefront. And right now, it's the two teams you just named
yep. All
because
right. How
everyone
about
globally knows Ant-Man. They know him. He's the new sensation for all the young TikTokers and everybody out there.
I agree. Next game that happened was a great game. Knicks versus the Pacers was a great game. The Pacers led the whole entire game until that stupid screen call that cost. This stupid screen call should have never been called. That should have never been called at all. That is the worst call of all time in a playoff game. I thought the Pacers did everything very well. And, despite Jalen Brunson dropping 43 points, he became the fourth player in NBA history to drop four straight 40-point games in the postseason. Despite beating them by 4 points, Dante DiVincenzo had had 25. Josh Hurt added 24, 13 rebounds, and 8 assists. Miles Turner got 23 points. But they got strong play from their bench. But at the end of the day, I think it just came down to that call. It came down to that call that cost them the game. I thought this matchup was pretty evenly matched up for the first game. Both teams trained back-to-back buckets, and despite them not playing any defense from Indiana Pacers, I'm surprised that they put up a. But here's the problem that I have with the New York Knicks, and I think it's what Draymond Green said in this podcast. Draymond Green says that the Knicks are not, championship worthy, or they're not going to make the finals. And it's not hate on the Knicks, but Jalen Brunson is a ball dominant guy, ball dominant. And here's also another case as well. You got to get more productions for your bench time, Thibodeau, because your starters are playing 44 to 45 minutes a game. And in the long run, it's not going to work in the long run. Now, they might make the Eastern Conference Finals. They should. But going against the Celtics team in the future, the Celtics have more depth on the bench. The Knicks will have to utilize their bench because having your starters play 44 to 45 minutes is not going to work. But I thought the Pacers put up a great fight when it came to that series. They put up a great fight. I just didn't like that screen call towards the end of the game. That screen call, excuse me, that screen call was like the worst call ever. Um, but when it comes to the Knicks, they can't play 45 minutes. You can't have your starters playing 45 minutes a game, expect to go to the NBA Finals. It won't happen.
Yep.
You have any input on this, Paul?
The Knicks game last night.
The Knicks and Pacers game, yes.
Yeah. I thought a little bit more defense would be played. I thought it'd be more of a half court game. Not shocking though, because I should have known. Like the Knicks are a perimeter based team, so they were gonna run in spots last night with the Pacers, and they did that. And they got good looks, and they were knocking down threes as well. So yeah, I can see. I mean, not the pace that the Pacers truly want to play at, because the Knicks did slow it down sometimes and play a little bit half court basketball. But they're going to take the opportunity to run when they can, because again, their game is perimeter based in New York, but they don't want to be the running team that the Pacers are. They don't want to play at at extreme pace. They want to take opportunities that present themselves, and in the break and the secondary break with the kick out threes from Brunson, being their guy that gets in the paint. Um, but it's going to be tough for Indianapolis. The Knicks are just a bad matchup. They have enough. I mean, they have enough defense to not let them get out of control on offense. But I think that the Pacers will get one in Indy. But it makes game two very interesting because the Pacers, just like the Nuggets, they know that their chance of winning this series lies on the fact of winning and stealing a game in New York, because then this thing could go the long haul. But uh, all the pressure on Indy, they got to get the win. They don't want to go home down 0-2.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's recap the games tonight before we go to the NFL. Tonight we have game one of the Celtics versus the Cavaliers. Who do you have in that matchup? I'm going to take Boston, but Donovan Mitchell's probably going to average a good 30 points. So I think it's going to be a very close uh, game one series between Boston and Cleveland.
Yeah, I'd say that too, and I'd say take the over. It could be a lot of threes, like you said. Yeah. Another thing about the long rebounds that presents itself for Boston just taking way too many 3-pointers for me is it creates a lot of break opportunity. So Donovan Mitchell, yeah, he will bust his average. Like, I'd play the over in Donovan Mitchell points too in this series every game, because it's going to be free flowing for him. It's the Boston is not a significant half court basketball defensive team, so he's going to get his opportunities in the paint and from the 3-point line in this entire series. The problem is they just don't have enough experience and secondary firepower to go with Mitchell to pose a threat long term to the Celtics.
I'll say Celtics in 5, just because they're going to find a way to be up 3-0, maybe screw up game 4. That's all I'm going to trust them there. Tonight's game at 10 o'clock, you have OKC versus the Dallas Mavericks. Now, that right there is going to be a great matchup. You got Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who's in the running for MVP. You got Luka Doncic. You got Kyrie Irving. You got Chet Holmgren. You got Josh Giddey. Um, Kyrie Irving in 13-0 in closeout games. I'm going to take the Mavericks to win this one, but the OKC can play defense. They can play defense. And I think Dart from OKC is going to create a lot of defensive pressure. It's going to be close, but just give me the Dallas Mavericks at home. It's going to be a very close game, though. Who, who are you picking, Paul? Well, he left. I think when it comes to this OKC Dallas series, I think at the end of the day, it's just going to come down to who can make clutch shots. I know that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is going to be a bucket. Kyrie is going to be a bucket. Luka Doncic is going to be a bucket. Um, Giddy can score. Chet Holmgren can score. OKC has a very young group. Now, despite them saying they're the most inexperienced team in the playoffs, they found a way to win the series. So it's going to be a very close game between both teams. But if I'm going to put my money on it, I ain't going to put my money on the Dallas Mavericks to win Game 1. But I feel like between either of these teams, this could be a short series or this could be a long series. Give me the Mavericks Game 1.
Give me Boston and OKC tonight. I think
Why
it's
OKC?
the home crowd is gonna uh, push them on to a game 1 victory. Game 2 is where their experience is gonna show or not show, and because They could give away home court, but I don't think it's tonight.
All right. Let's go to the NFL. The NFL schedule, I think, is going to get released tomorrow. Not tomorrow. I think it's Thursday, May 9th. I think it's when the schedule gets released. So whenever it gets released, we'll probably have a watch party or we'll talk about the NFL schedule and opponents going forward. But Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow is throwing again, and he rehabs from a surgery from his wrist. Paul, what does this mean for the Cincinnati Bengals? And I know they play in a tough division in the AFC North where you got the Steelers, the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Browns, but they missed the playoffs with Joe Burrow being hurt, despite Cincinnati had 4-3 with backup quarterback in Jake Browning, but they finished 9-8 and last in the AFC North due to competition. Tyler Boyd went to the Tennessee Titans today, so they lost another receiver. So, what are your thoughts on Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals for this upcoming season? Paul,
Yes.
what are your thoughts for Joe Burrow in the upcoming season in Cincinnati coming back from a surgically repaired thrown wrist?
Uh, I think it. I think they'll be serviceable. I mean, I like them to make because the roster construction and not losing that many folks. I think that I see Cincinnati winning the division. I think Baltimore and Cleveland will be slugging it out for the wild card. But uh, I'll give Burrow a chance. Fully healthy Burrow. I like him in that spot because I don't trust Baltimore's passing game after what I saw last year. I'm just not going to put I'm just not going to think that it's going to get better in a year or it's going to get better in 5 years. It is what it is. And if if Cincinnati completely healthy, everyone at full strength, give me the Bengals. I have the Steelers in the basement, and I have Cleveland and Baltimore fighting for the 2 spot, but both of them could end up in the playoffs.
All right, Paul, you like your NHL stuff. The Bruins and the Panthers are getting set for game two. And then you got the Canucks and the Oilers ready to open up the series as well for the NHL playoffs on the road to the Stanley Cup. Who do you have in these two matchups?
I was surprised last night, and again during the pregame shows they were talking about the Panthers having too much time off. I think they had 7 or 8 days off in between this their last game at the start of this series yesterday with Boston. Boston went and had a 7 game series and played 48 hours before that, but it just showed they scored 5 goals, so they were the hot team, and they were coming off game action, and they went down to Florida and stole game one. So um, again, pressure, home ice means less than home court so far this year in the play in NHL and NBA. However, you don't want to go back to Boston down 0-2 and digging yourself out a hole on the road. Nobody wants to do that in any sport, actually. So I mean, big game for the Panthers in game two. Um, the Rangers take game one from the Hurricanes. Hurricanes on the road for game two at Madison Square Garden. Um, Again, they'd like to steal one. They're my favorite hot team coming in. I still think they're right where they want to be. Again, they're just a game down, but they're on the road. They can steal one there, go back to Raleigh 1-1. It'd be a good look for them.
All right, you've been keeping up a little bit of MLB baseball. Otani hits his 11th homer as the Dodgers defeat the Maryland 6-3 for a fourth straight win. Paul, has it been 40 games yet? Are we going to find out who's going to be good and who's going to be garbage? Has it been
Okay,
40
we're,
yet?
we're almost there. We're almost there. I think we're at the game 35, 36 for most teams. Um, I will say that there is a few surprises, but there are some things that are happening that we knew going into the season that those teams like Baltimore were going to be there. Surprisingly, the Washington Nationals are playing 500 baseball. They were supposed to be a bottom of the division team, but give me another week, and I'll give me a week, and I'll give you my future playoff teams and future division pennant winners.
Mm, okay. Last thing. Um, last thing that we'll talk about um, is Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy and the 49ers. After 2 seasons of Brock Purdy getting hurt in the NFC Championship game against the Eagles and get blown out, and then went to the Super Bowl and had a chance to win and lost. Do you think that Brock Purdy will go back to the Super Bowl as the 49ers in the NFC and possibly ruin the Chiefs' three-peat? Let me be honest with you. I don't think that the 49ers, excuse me, the Chiefs are going to win three straight Super Bowls. That's going to be tough. But, um, Paul, do you think that Brock Purdy will go back to the Super Bowl this upcoming season? And if it happens to be the Chiefs and the 49ers again, will the 49ers finally stop the Chiefs three-peat?
No and no. One, I don't think the 49ers are going to be the representative from the NFC. Um, Two, if they are, I don't think they beat the Chiefs. They go down again this year. Um, I just think the Shanahan is just not. I think Shanahan can only take a team so far, and I think he's a great regular season coach because he controls a lot of the elements that happen during football games. But when you get to the playoffs, and some of the things you've just got to rely on players to make plays and instead of coaching controlling every play. I think it stifles their offense, and it chokes them. It chokes their offense down because everything Shanahan wants everything predicated on what he calls, and he wants to be the extension arm of the quarterback, meaning the quarterback's just on the field being me, and that's where I think Shanahan gets in trouble. He's good
Me,
enough to win, but I just think that when you get to a certain spot, when you got to let players make plays and not have them be robotic and just play the play out the way you're playing it in your mind from the sideline, you're asking too much. You're stifling your talent. And I think that's where Shanahan gets in trouble with the 49ers and with Brock Purdy. But I don't anticipate. I think someone will come and knock them off in the NFC this year. I think last year there was a chance, and then I think that they're going to have the season. I mean, and just like they have people's number, people have their number too. They got more tape out there on Purdy and that offense, another year of it that they can use this year because offense hasn't changed much. The personnel hasn't changed much. So it's going to be tough. It's tough for them to see. And, McVay's going to have those guys back and ready. Pete Carroll's going to have Seattle ready to – they're going to compete. Not Pete Carroll, I'm sorry. The McDaniel from Baltimore. They're going to be ready to compete. They're competitive. They got a young nucleus over there in Seattle, young talent that's ready to compete. But it did, everyone wants the Eagles to be back. I don't see it. Um, Detroit, it might be their turn.
We'll
I
see.
don't
We'll
think that
see.
they're just a splash in the pan. Neither I do. I think the Packers are a splash in the pan.
Um,
They'll,
I think the 49ers go back to Super Bowl. Um, I know what the Lions are capable of, but if Dan Quinn's going to keep making go for it on fourth down every time, or hopefully he learns his lesson, they're not going to get far. Now I know they rebuild. The Lions have rebuilt it from the offensive line, defensive line. They drafted very well. I thought the Lions had a very good draft, but these teams in the NFC they're going to get a lot better. I think people are going to start figuring out the Lions like they're figuring out the 49ers as well. I'm more confident in the 49ers advancing due to the experience they've been advancing before. I understand that Kyle Shanahan has choked three Super Bowls. I'm not even debating that. He's choked. He definitely choked the last one, despite the great defense of the 49ers holding the Chiefs to 3 points. Um, I feel like the toss up for the NFC it could be the 49ers, but if not, it's going to be some surprising team that's going to represent the NFC. I think when it comes to the AFC, I don't think everybody's going to be targeting the Chiefs. Now, if the Chiefs gets a Super Bowl again, that's great. But I think my target reach that will represent the AFC is the Cincinnati Bengals. I have a feeling the Kansas City Chiefs threat is the Cincinnati Bengals. A healthy Joe Burrow and a Jamar Chase. Despite the Chiefs' great defense, I know they lost somebody, a cornerback that went to the Titans. They got some big money and whatnot. But give me the Cincinnati Bengals to represent the Super Bowl in the AFC. So I wouldn't be surprised next year if it's the 49ers and the Bengals that represent the Super Bowl next year.
hmm, hmm, interesting. Okay.
That means Chiefs Bengals go to the AFC Championship game, and Cincinnati beats Kansas City. So that's going to be the end of the show. Do not forget that Totem Pole Nation is partnering soon with the GOAT, Tom Brady. Totem Pole Sports Today is sponsored by St. Pete Rejuvenate and Autograph IO. When you sign up, use the code Totem Pole Nation. You can sign up for a free account today. You can pick what favorite NBA team you like. You can pick what college teams you like as well. So don't forget to sign up to autograph.io and responsible by St. Pete Rejuvenate.com. Any information that you need as far as COVID, as far as massages, anything, go to St. Pete Rejuvenate website. But this is it for Total Post Sports. We'll be back tomorrow for the Life Lessons podcast and another round of Total Post Sports. This is me, Lambo, and we all have the man from Soul. We'll be clocking out. We will be checking you in uh, later. So y'all have a great day and please take care.